Hey, what's up, people? This is Panaorios, and welcome back to the Forgotten City. So, we are going to go and talk to the guy under this city, because we now know the name of the god that has established the Golden Rule. So, let's see if we can have this philosophical debate and get into his back room. At least I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. We've been down here twice already, and I thought the guy's name was Hades, even though technically it is Hades, but now we officially know. And I'm sure the name he's looking for is Pluto. Alright, stranger.
Come and join me by the fire. Welcome. May I ask your name?
I'm
It's a
Panaorios.
sincere pleasure to meet you. Tell me, what brings you all the way down here?
I'm looking for a plaque that was removed from the obelisk. I'm looking for Kabash. Oh, are you Kabash?
Ah, Kabash. I know this man. He came through here some weeks ago. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die is a good philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule?
Pluto, god of the Underworld.
Excellent. I see you are indeed quite astute. Very few come to that realization before their time in the sun is over. Now, will you join me in a friendly Socratic dialogue?
Sounds easy enough if I have to.
Good enough for me. Now, let me begin with a question. Would you say you know the difference between right and wrong?
I'm not sure. It's a complex question. It's not something I've often thought about.
And
Yes.
to what extent? In every situation?
In most
So,
situations.
You're not entirely confident. That is quite sensible. Indeed, I'm reminded of something Socrates once said. To paraphrase, better to know that you know nothing than to know nothing and think that you know. It is because knowledgeable people have learned enough to know they know very little, in the broader scheme of things. You see, out there in the world, being uncertain about right and wrong was acceptable, because our mistakes rarely had consequences. So we would tell lies and bend rules and turn a blind eye and rationalize, and yet still find a way to think of ourselves as good people. But under the Golden Rule, morality matters. The slightest wrongdoing could result in a mass execution. So to navigate this maze, we would have to be certain about the difference between right and wrong. Wouldn't you agree?
Of course. Whose version of right and wrong? Ooh, that's a good one.
That is an excellent question, and it leads directly to my next line of inquiry. So let me ask you this. Is there one system of morality which is always perfectly correct, which you could follow in every situation and always do the right thing?
There's more than one. No, I don't think so. There's
How
more
can
than
that
one.
be? Since they all have differences, it follows that in some cases they would offer different conclusions about what is right and wrong. If there is a correct moral code, then wouldn't it follow that only one can be the correct one?
Okay, fair enough. I suppose so. The correct moral code depends on the laws and customs of whichever society you're in. I like that one. Maybe there's no correct morality.
Ah, you know, I think you'd find an ally in Herodotus, a scribe from among my people who lived some 400 years ago. He told the story of a man named Darius, whose curiosity was piqued when he learned that a certain tribe had the practice of eating their dead. He asked some Greeks who burnt their dead, what would it take for you to eat your dead? Aghast, they replied, nothing. Then he asked the tribe who ate their dead, what would it take for you to burn your dead? Nothing, they replied, equally aghast. From this, Herodotus concluded that custom is king, that right and wrong are merely local ideas which do not survive the journey from one tribe to another. I take it you're in agreement?
Yes.
Then let me ask you this. If you visited a tribe where they ate each other, copulated with the dead and drank wine from cups made out of human skulls, would you still maintain that within such a tribe there is nothing wrong with such conduct?
If that's their customs, I don't have to live there.
Disturbing. And while I do not agree with you, at least you would have the support of Herodotus.
What's your point? Wait, I want to change my answer.
My
What's your
point is this. I don't think anyone alive truly knows any hard and fast rules about right and wrong.
Fair point. I'm not sure about that. What about do not kill?
If
Fair
there
point.
is one thing I have observed about rules, it is that virtuous people do not need them, and evil people will always find a way around them. And so we
true.
must accept our limitations, and the sad truth that no human society will ever achieve the utopia for which it strives. In mathematics, we would call it an asymptote, a line that can be approached but never reached. Because the only way to create a utopia is with the ever-present threat of force, such as the Golden Rule. This and no other is the root from which a tyrant springs when he first appears as a protector. And life under tyranny is no utopia at all.
I agree. Sure, why not? I agree.
I'm glad to hear that. In any case, thank you for humoring an old man. I would be happy to answer your questions.
What's your name? Do you know a way out of here? Okay, let's just ask them all.
You mean, how did I end up living alone in this cave with nothing but these relics of the past for company? It's a long story.
I'm
I was a
listening.
quarrelsome young man. At 19, I left Corinth for Rome to study rhetoric at one of her finest academies, so I could argue more forcefully. Back then, I used to enjoy verbally sparring with everyone I could, and I was good. One night, I found myself in a tavern in an argument with a drunk mercenary. It became heated, he drew a gladius, and I won the argument, but lost my life. I woke up on the banks of the Styx at a campfire opposite Karen. Of course, I tried to persuade her to let me return, but even with all my skill, I failed. I settled in, made friends, and learned what I could, quickly realizing our little community faced certain death under the Golden Rule. So I began looking for a place to hide underground. Fortunately, I found this place waiting for me. You see, I was not the first to take refuge here. I returned to my friends above, persuaded them to join me, and 12 of us descended for the last time to live out our days hidden from Hades' tyranny.
Hades, you mean Pluto? No, he means Hades.
They are one and the same. The Romans call
Exactly.
him Pluto, but long before that, my people called him Hades.
So you're Greek. Why can't you return to the surface?
My generation was wiped out, turned to gold, many years ago. My friends and I were able to avoid the same fate by hiding down here. I think it's safest to assume that if I was to return, Hades would realize that his furies hadn't finished the job, and he'd send them after me again.
Then you should probably stay down here. Why can't you tell me your
I
name?
fear that if you were to utter my name in the city, even by mistake, that Hades would hear you and know I am still alive.
Okay, fair enough. Where is everyone
I'm
else?
afraid I am the only one left. There were 12 of us in the beginning, but one by one, my friends passed away. Some from malnutrition, others from madness and despair. It has been
What did you
lonely.
eat?
Before my unexpected visit from Kabash some weeks ago, I'd not seen another person in many, many years.
How have you survived down here? Very good
Living
question.
in darkness is not without its challenges. The first challenge is diet. Fortunately, I found that eating fresh fish provides most of the nutrients I need. And sometimes, when there are Greek people living up above, I surface at night and salvage the offerings they've left in the temple of Demeter. The greater challenge is the isolation. So I like to imagine arguments, where I argue both sides. But, like so many things in life, arguments are better with a partner.
Okay. Let's talk about something else.
As you wish.
Do you know of a way out of here?
If I did, would I be living like this?
What do you think of the
Did we
golden
not
rule?
discuss it at length already? Oh, I see. You're toying with me. Ha!
Do you know where I can find a plaque that was removed from
You
the
seek the
obelisk?
plaque bearing the Egyptian inscription.
That's
It
the
is a
one.
cursed object, and I would be happy to give it to you if Kabash had not already taken it.
All right, then tell me where
I will
Kabash is.
tell you, but you may find him hostile. To prepare for your encounter, there are certain things you must know. Very few know this, but before the Romans came to this city, it was once entirely Greek. The architecture, the temples, and the people. When the Romans came, in typical fashion, they claimed it as their own, built over everything that could be built over, and renamed the things that could not. Thus, the shrine of Persephone became the shrine of Proserpina. And when they found an obelisk bearing the name Hades, they tore it off and replaced it with Pluto instead. And the city's dwindling Greek residents, witnessing this compulsive Roman conquest, decided to preserve what they could of their heritage. They gathered their art and valuables, secreted them away through the temple of Demeter, and hid them here, out of reach of the Romans.
I'm with you so far.
However, there was one thing that always seemed out of place to me, and it is the very thing you seek. An even older plaque bearing an Egyptian inscription.
What did it say?
We had no idea until years later, when the first of my friends began to die. As a result of their deaths, we began to dig catacombs branching off from this cavern to lay them to rest. We extended the tunnel so far that we accidentally discovered another, an even older tunnel, which somebody had gone to great lengths to keep hidden. Suddenly it made sense why there was an out-of-place Egyptian plaque among our people's possessions. You see, we proud Greeks had thought the Romans beasts for stealing and corrupting our heritage. But it turns out this game has been going on much longer than any of us imagined. I think it is best you head through the catacombs and follow Kabash's trail. There are certain things you must see for yourself. Take this key. You'll need it to open the gate.
Oh gosh. All right, thank you. I'll be
I
going
enjoyed
now.
our chat, but please, keep my presence here a secret, yes?
All right, I will. I have no reason to snitch on you, old man. All right, so this is not what I expected, but here we go. Let's get into the catacombs. Inspect. This must be one of the philosopher's 11 friends who he outlived. Okay, that's 2. I'm guessing that's 3. I don't want to fight you, Kabash, but if I have to, I will. I just need the plaque. You know what? Let's go ahead and save, just in case. Then again, if I kill him, how will I get out of here? Oh, okay. What's up here? Okay, got some algae. Looks like algae. Vase of arrows, so we're definitely gonna have to fight something. Egyptian board game. The board for an ancient game called Senet, the rules for which are long forgotten. Seems to be locked from the other side. Okay, that must be our way out. Okay, we can go down. I want to see what's over here first, though. Okay. Alright. Down we go. Wow. We're in an Egyptian temple. This is... Oh. Hi. Okay, good. Whoa. Oh, God. Kick him. Okay. Jeez. Oh, okay. We're good. We're good. Egyptian plaque, which translates to "the many shall suffer for the sins of the one." They all say that. Another Senet. I know you guys are around. Just stay where you are, and we'll be good. Okay, there you are. Statue of Akkar, an ancient Egyptian deity said to guard against evil spirits and welcome the dead to the underworld. Wow. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. They're all running towards this area. All this sand. This is really cool. Oh, you're alive? I think this guy's alive. Is this Kabosh?
Stop! Do not come any closer. Who are you?
I'm Panaorios.
I
Who are
am
you?
Kabosh. And let me guess, another Greek or Roman come to loot and plunder the resting place of my ancestors,
I'm just looking for an Egyptian plaque. Do I look Greek or Roman to you?
Trousers, boots, curious here. No, I suppose you do not. Then what do you want?
I'm just looking for an Egyptian plaque.
To what end?
I like this guy already. I want to return it to the obelisk.
That is welcome news. You really are not Greek or Roman, are you? I was planning to return it myself, but for now, I must remain. Here, take it and restore the honor of Osiris.
Wow. So Osiris is the god of the underworld for the Egyptians. A plaque bearing the hieroglyphic inscription, Osiris, Lord of Silence. Thank you.
Now, as for the other plaque.
The fourth plaque, you know about that? Do you know where I can
Indeed,
find it?
I have it right here. I stumbled across a collection of dusty curiosities while searching for a place to hide from the hungry children of Amit, and there it was.
May
You
I
may
have
not. In fact, I am about to destroy it.
Why?
Because it speaks a treacherous, blasphemous lie.
How
I
so?
will tell you, but first, do you know what this place is?
Let's use my archaeologist insight. The Duat? Oh yeah, this is from Assassin's Creed Origins.
Indeed. and I see you know our history. This is the Duat. See what has become of it. I have been down here for weeks, piecing together its story, and here is what I have learned. As Egypt declined and the Greeks had their turn to flourish, their souls came here in great numbers, but instead of adopting our ways, they copied and corrupted them. When they found the obelisk bearing the name Osiris, the true god of the underworld, they desecrated it, removing his name and replacing it with Hades. Even the ferryman of the dead, known to my people long before as Kerti, they renamed to Keron. As if that desecration was not enough, they built over this place, using it as the foundation for their own underworld, so that ours was forgotten. My only solace is that the Greeks then suffered the same fate when the Romans rose to power, renaming Hades to Pluto, and the cycle began anew.
So what's the problem with this plaque? I can see why you'd be unhappy with the Greeks and
I am
Romans.
glad to hear it, which brings me to this other, fourth plaque. It is inscribed with a script I do not recognize, but it is ancient, almost as if it is older than the plaque bearing Osiris's name. But if that is so, it would
means your people
imply
did the same thing.
gods of Egypt are mere imitations too, copied and corrupted from an ancient people who prospered even before us, and that my people did to them what the Greeks and Romans did to us. But this I cannot accept. I sense a deception. Perhaps it is the work of Set, the usurper, seeking to undermine Osiris once more.
What does the inscription say?
You will never know. This work of sacrilege must be destroyed, thrown into the black abyss below in Osiris's name.
Do it and I'll kill you? No. Stop, I need that. Please don't. He doesn't care, but let's go
You
with
are
this.
too late. It is done.
I wish you hadn't done that. Now I'm going to have to go in
You
after
would
it.
plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
I'll find a way back up. We'll see. First, I have some questions for
If
you.
it will help you to see reason, then ask.
What's
I
your
am
story?
from Rakotis, which you may know as Alexandria, the name of the city the Greeks built over it. I was a fisherman, like my father before me. Since the Romans had taken over from the Greeks, I took the opportunity to learn Latin and eventually traveled to Rome. When the fires broke out last year, I tried to help. I gathered terrified locals into my boat and led many of them to safety farther along the Tiber. On my 7th trip, a passenger demanded I wait for his brother. But we were full to almost sinking, and smoke was all around us. I told him his brother would have to save himself, and he tried to bribe me by placing a coin into my hand. When I refused, he drew a dagger and thrust it between my ribs. I awoke on the banks of the river to a stranger wearing a ram headdress. He said his name was Kerti, and at the time, I simply thought him odd. It did not dawn on me until much later that he was the Kerti, the ram-headed ferryman described in the Book of the Dead.
Wow. You try to help people and you get killed for it. That's ridiculous. He obviously doesn't know of a way out of here, but let's ask.
This is where I belong, as caretaker of the memories of my people. If our ways are to be remembered, it falls to me.
What do you think of the
I
golden
think
rule?
if someone is to break the golden rule, it will not be me, for I try to live as I always have by the command of the goddess Ma'at. Do to the doer to make him do. As for the punishment that will come from it, I finally understand why it has long been said among my people that gold is the skin of the gods.
What do you think is
I
down
do not
there?
know. What could possibly lie beneath the underworld? Perhaps it is infinite darkness. Perhaps it is the lair of Amit, the devourer of souls. All I know is it would be unwise to venture down there.
Perhaps. That just makes you want to gun down there even more.
Most unwise.
I'll be going
Good.
now.
Be gone from this place. Wait. You are planning to go down there. I see it in your eyes.
Definitely.
You would plunge into the depths of the Duat with no way back up. Madness.
I'll find a way
We
back up.
shall see.
Alright, everybody. Here we go. Sumerian plaque. A plaque bearing the cuneiform inscription Nergal, the Fierce One. Okay. Wow. We have all the plaques now. Yes, I know you guys still see me. This is really cool. I love this game. Alright, so far so good. More golden people. Just civilizations built on top of civilizations. Absolutely ridiculous. Yes, I know statues. You all see me. Barricades. And a road set of barricades. Looks like these Sumerians are trying to defend themselves from something. Oh, we can get through there. Alright, let's see. Alright, we have a boulder here. I can't go this way? Nope, we can't go that way. Alright, let's go this way. Statues are blocking me. I feel like I can... No, I can't make that gold. I feel like I could. But no big deal. We'll just go this way. Is this a maze? This seems like a maze. Like a labyrinth. Alright, which button do I need to press to get my bow back? This one. Okay. Oh, whoa. Okay. Holy shit. Whoa. Interesting. Okay, so I wonder if I need to... I probably need to make that thing gold. Yeah, to stop it from moving. That's what I think. Nope. Definitely not. They're really trying to kill me over here. Did I just knock a hole into something? I did. Okay, we should probably move. Okay, I think things are
When
gonna
I
fall from
told
there.
you that you would not find a way
Kabosh.
back up, that was not a prediction. That was a promise. You will die here.
Dude, there's no need for this to end in violence. Get out of my way or you'll be the one who dies there. There's no need for this to end in violence.
I warned you against coming down here, against perpetuating this sacrilege, but you persisted. You have undermined and dishonored the true god of the underworld. How did you think this would end, if not with bloodshed?
Just hear me out.
Very well, I will listen. But if I sense deception, or if you further insult my gods, I will carry out my threat. So tell me, why should I let you live after you salvaged this instrument of blasphemy?
If something can be destroyed by the truth, it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. There's no shame in building on the works of people who came before you. I'm just trying to replace all the plaques taken from the desecrated
Why?
obelisk.
To what end?
I'm hoping it'll earn me an audience with the god of the Underworld. Should we lie to him? We're gonna have to lie.
But that makes no sense. How would it honor him to place false names on his sacred Tekenu?
If gods exist, isn't it possible they have more than one true name? Ooh, that's a good one. Alright, I lied. No, let's go for this one.
Now that I think about it, my people would sometimes call Osiris the god of many names. Perhaps it is so. But the underworld of my people is so different to this one, and so unlike the way it was described by our priests. Many of my ancestors endured great hardship to live good lives so that we may descend to the Duat in death and be judged accordingly. We prepare to have our hearts weighed on Anubis' scales and to swear ourselves innocent of sin before the 42 assessors of Ma'at. And yet, I arrive here to find the Book of the Dead contained only a seed of truth. And now I ask myself, did our priests steal and embellish the stories of an older people and feed us lies all our lives simply to trick us into obedience?
Jeez, crisis of faith. Probably, but you can blame your priest for that, not me. Isn't being a good person a worthwhile pursuit in and of itself?
I am not sure I follow. Speak plainly.
Even if your beliefs about the afterlife weren't quite accurate, isn't the important thing they motivated you to live good lives? If you were only good in life because you expected a reward, were you really a good person?
Perhaps there is some truth in that. What is your point?
Are you going to abandon a lifetime of good character now that it matters most, just because you found out you were misled?
You are persuasive. Very well. I will let you live, and you may do what you will with that plaque. I will remain here for a while, and attempt to learn what I can about the foundations of my people's beliefs. Go.
Holy crap. Thank you, Kabosh. Okay. Now that that crisis is handled, what happens if I press this? Okay, that's what happens. Nimble. Dodge 3 boulders. It wasn't that hard to dodge them, but I'm glad that we didn't get crushed. Okay, can't go that way. And I'm assuming we can't go that way. Is the water rising? Oh, snap, it is rising. Okay. Well, it is definitely time to go. Kabosh, you might want to leave, buddy. Just letting you know. I'm gonna go. You might want to leave too. Did the water stop? I think it stopped. Okay. Wow. That was crazy. This game is amazing. Okay, so now what? Now we go and try to get an audience. Hey, this is where we were. I knew this was our way out. Now we can try and get an audience with whoever is in the temple. Okay, I think more skeletons. Oh, they couldn't bury them after a while. That's crazy. Okay, we're good. Let's go talk to this guy again.
Ah, you've returned.
I sure have.
Good to see you again, friend. Did you find what you need?
I did.
I enjoyed our chat, but...
Alright, I will. Okay, that was awesome. So I think this might bring us to the inn. But let's get up to the temple first. I want to see what happens. And then I think we'll end the episode. Okay, this is the obelisk. Let's go ahead and pop in the plaques. Alright, that says Pluto. That is the Sumerian plaque, I think. That's the Egyptian plaque. And I'm guessing that's the Greek one. Enter the Great Temple. Ooh. You know what? We're gonna go for it. I was getting in the episode, but we're gonna go for it. Okay. We are in the Great Temple. Speak his name. Hades, Lord of Many. Grant me an audience. Nergal, the Fierce One. Pluto, Father of Riches. Grant me an audience. Whoa. Speak. Pluto, grant me an audience. Okay. Osiris. Nergal. Hades. Alright, Pluto, Hades. Oh, we have to go down through their era. Okay. So this is the Egyptian god. This one has to be Osiris. Wow, we really do have to go down through. That's so cool. I love this. Nergal, the Fierce One. Holy crap. What in the... What the What is this game? What is this? I was not expecting any of this. Okay, we're back. I had to get a screenshot. What in the world? So are there many... We meet at last. Are there many other iterations of this? This is wild. Charon?
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. As you have already gathered, I've been known by many names. Nergal to the Sumerians, Osiris to the Egyptians, Hades to the Greeks, and Pluto to the Romans. But the one constant through it all has been my title, God of the Underworld. And I've been watching you with curiosity, mortal, ever since your arrival. You're unlike the others, aren't you? And what is more, you carry a weapon that was never intended for mortals to wield, and you do it so brazenly. But there will be time for your reckoning later. First, as a reward for undoing the desecration of my obelisk, I will allow you to satisfy your curiosity. Ask what you will.
What's your story?
My story is many thousands of years long. You will need to be more specific. What do you wish to know?
You're a god. Why do you sound and look like a man? Who is the woman on your left? Who is that on your right? You're a god?
It is a matter of perspective. God is a label I was given by you mortals, not one I gave myself. Your ancestors revered me because to them, my knowledge and technology made me incomprehensibly powerful, just as you might seem so to an insect. But despite all that, there are rules even I must obey.
Why do you look and sound like a man?
My kin and I all adopted this form long ago, so that we might better understand and communicate with your kind. In time, we grew fond of the sensory delights it affords. Desire, joy, ecstasy, even rage and sorrow, while an acquired taste can be addictive.
May I see your true form?
No. Long ago I swore to Persephone that I would remain in this form for as long as we remained among your kind. I must honor that.
Okay. Who's the woman on your left?
This is my beloved. Like me, she has been known by many names.
Why is she
to the
frozen?
Sumerians, Isis to the Egyptians, Persephone to the Greeks, and Proserpina to the Romans. Or perhaps you might know her as the goddess of springtime, the cycle of life and renewal. Your gaze lingers
She's
too
the one
long.
whispering to me. Okay, fair enough. Who is that on your
That
right?
is my servant. You would have met by the river, though she wears many
Akkar.
faces and goes by many names. Kumutubal to the Sumerians, Kurti to the Egyptians, Charon to the Greeks, and Charon to the Romans. Her role is to ferry souls between the mortal world and this one, and to make their transition as seamless as possible. For that, she earned herself the infamous, if erroneous, moniker, the Ferryman. You will talk more later. For now, ask your questions.
Alright, let's talk about something
As you
else.
wish.
What is
It
this
has
place?
come to be known simply as the Underworld, and it exists because of a wager I made long ago.
What was the wager
That is
you
a
made?
long story, one that began over 3,000 years ago and continues to this day. You see, long ago my kin and I set out from our home on Elysium to search for other forms of life among the stars. We discovered your planet and witnessed your kind evolving from primates into something lawless and barbaric. You all but destroyed yourselves, your 2 short lives being extinguished by violence and ignorance and disease. Yet Proserpina saw raw potential in you, and persuaded the rest of us it would be squandered without our intervention and stewardship. So we revealed ourselves to your people in a place called Sumer. We offered guidance in agriculture, toolcraft, and law, and you called us gods. For a time you flourished, but soon you were too many for us to oversee. And as you spread from that cradle of civilization, we saw something disturbing. We had sown the seeds of dependency and confusion, and soon you returned to your old ways of violence and ignorance, this time in our name. My kin had seen enough, and gave up on your kind, condemning you as barbaric and chaotic, scarcely more than animals. We began preparations to return to Elysium, our home world, a utopia unspoilt by conflict and unimaginable in its beauty. But my Proserpina could not bear to abandon your kind without guidance, and knowing it would force the rest of us to leave her behind, she made an extraordinary sacrifice. She gave up her immortality to descend permanently to the ranks of humankind. And so she began her inescapable trajectory toward death. Horrified, I acted swiftly. I placed her in suspended animation in a deep frozen sleep to prevent age and sickness from claiming her. And then I pleaded with Proserpina's father, who the Romans called Jupiter, to bring her with us to Elysium. It was and is my hope that once there, we might one day learn to undo what she has done to herself. But he refused. I did everything I could to persuade him, but he would not relent. He would rigidly uphold his final pronouncement. Humans were unworthy of ascension to Elysium, and no exceptions would be made. But seeing that I was aggrieved, he proposed a wager, the terms of which were as follows. If even one human city could prove itself capable of living without sin for a single year, then Proserpina and all of humanity would be permitted to join us in Elysium. My part would be to remain behind, the last of my kind, to watch over you, without interfering, and to sit in silent judgment. And so my reward has been to languish here, enduring a 3,000-year winter, waiting for the day your kind proves itself worthy of her faith in you, so that I might take her with me to Elysium and unthaw my goddess of springtime. And here I am, after all this time, still waiting.
Wow. 3,000 years waiting for just 1 year of someone not to commit a sin. Holy crap. Who are your kin?
There were also gods who, like me, have been known by many names, but perhaps you knew them by their Roman names. Our leader Jupiter, as well as Neptune, Saturn, Juno, Minerva, Mars, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Vulcan, Vesta, Ceres, and of course, my beloved Proserpina.
Who built
As
the
the
city?
first wave of your kind arrived from Sumer, I had them build a city in their own fashion, so that they might be comfortable and recreate their lives here. I had them build the entrance as a vertical shaft leading to baths, to cleanse them of the sins of their former lives, and to prevent escape. I watched wave after wave of Sumerians arrive, and as their civilization declined over the centuries, they were replaced by Egyptians. Of course, believing themselves to be the superior civilization, the Egyptians promptly built over what had been built before, and made all the same mistakes. After another 1,000 years, the Greeks began to arrive, and then the Romans, and they all did the same thing. They built upon the underworlds of their predecessors, renamed their gods, and ensured their foundations were forgotten.
Wow. How did you decide who comes
To
here?
ensure the wager was fair, it was important that my subjects were chosen at random. To this end, I had my servant distribute 1,000 tokens fashioned from silver, a rare element at the time, across all of Sumer. Whoever died while in possession of one of them would be located by my servant and ferried to this place, with no memory of how they arrived. As the tokens were discovered, they were traded, smelted, and fashioned into trinkets, and eventually coins, spreading to Egypt like seeds on the wind. Later, when they spread to Greece, they would come to be known as Charon's obol, or as coins for the ferryman. Some placed coins in the mouths of their dead, hoping they would awaken here, though they had no way of knowing which coins were fashioned from the original tokens. In fact, almost all of the tokens are accounted for, only 2 remain. And so after this wave destroys itself, as it is destined to do, your kind will have squandered the last of its potential to ascend beyond this rock, and Proserpina's along with it.
How did humans learn about the Underworld?
It is a regrettable story. One of the first men who came to this place was a king of Sumer and a troublemaker. To be rid of him, I returned him to his people, on the condition that my servant erased his memories of this place. But the erasure did not take completely, and he told stories of this place as if describing memories of a dream. His tales were committed to writing, which came to be known as the Epic of Gilgamesh, and his words were twisted and distorted over generations. Later, the Egyptians would adapt Sumer's stories of the underworld, making them wildly intricate and labyrinthine. Their Book of the Dead and Book of Gates bore less and less resemblance to this place, in their priests' pursuit of profit. Then, when the Greeks began to arrive, they proved far more cunning, and in a series of incidents that will not be repeated, 5 of them escaped. A warrior named Hercules, 2 kings named Sisyphus and Theseus, a poet named Orpheus, and a Trojan named Aeneas. They each told embellished tales of this place, how to get here, and how to escape. And so from Sumer to Egypt, Greece to Rome, your kind has always told each other stories about this place, though each story contained only a seed of truth.
Wow. Let's talk about something else.
Of course.
Are you responsible for the Golden
That is
Rule?
merely the name your people have given to it, but yes, it is my doing.
Why turn people into
That
gold?
is a story dating back to the very first wave. After the Sumerians finished building their city, the self-declared ruler threw a banquet to celebrate. Now this man was unmarried, and many women were vying to become his wife, a prestigious position of power and influence in a new world. Of all the women, 2 were particularly ambitious. Both were beautiful, and both arrived at the banquet wearing eye-catching dresses and painted faces, their hair woven in elaborate fashion. The first woman, recognizing that she would require an advantage to win the ruler's affection, draped herself in jewelry, ornate necklaces, bracelets, and rings fashioned from gold. Seeing this ostentatious display, the second woman grew envious, for she had no such jewelry at her disposal. She prayed aloud to any gods that would listen to cover her in gold, and when her prayer went unanswered, she took matters into her own hands. While the others indulged at the banquet, the second woman summoned the first for a discussion in a quiet place. She checked that nobody was watching and pushed her rival from the top of the ziggurat, where she broke her neck on the rocks below. But I was watching, and I decided to answer her prayer. I took the golden bow left behind by Diana, and I shot that woman in the heart, covering her from head to toe in a layer of molten gold. And I left her to stand there, that she might serve as a grim reminder of what befalls those who sin in my domain. But that was not enough, for the entire city was tainted by her sin, and the wager could no longer be won. So I had no choice but to wipe the slate clean. I gilded them all, to make way for a new wave, and began the wager again. And to this day, each of them, and all who came after, line the halls of this city, inanimate but conscious, suspended in time with only their sight and hearing preserved, so they may bear witness to and lament the folly of your kind for eternity, as silent golden sentinels.
I feel like he's misinterpreting the wager, because it said if one person can live a whole year without sin, but he's just killing everyone if one person commits a sin. That's ridiculous. So you're responsible for destroying all these lives.
I give your kind a second chance at life, as well as ample warning about my law. And when you disobey, and you always disobey, you force my hand, bringing terrible suffering upon yourselves. And so you ask if I am the one destroying your lives. And I say, no, you destroy yourselves. I am merely the means by which you do it.
Where did these golden bows come from?
When my kin departed, they left behind many relics which I inherited. A consolation prize of sorts. The golden bow originally belonged to one of my kin, who the Romans called Diana. As my collection of golden statues grew, I chose the most ferocious among them, and equipped them each with a duplicate of her bow, and tasked them with hunting down the Forsaken at my behest. They became known simply as Furies.
What do you consider a sin?
I've always considered that the cornerstone of morality is the ability to determine right from wrong on one's own. No attempt to lay out rules like your Code of Hammurabi or your 12 Tables of the Roman Republic can ever cover all possible scenarios. This should come as no surprise to you, since the core principle has been expressed in many forms by many of your civilizations. The Egyptians made a rudimentary attempt with do to the doer to make him do. The Greeks refined it with avoid doing what you would blame others for doing. The Roman Stoics added, treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Even the so-called cultists hiding among you often say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It is the simplest of concepts, and each one of you is born with the faculties required to apply it to any situation. Yet none of the peoples who expressed this rule were able to uphold it. Curious, is it not?
That principle is not as easy to apply as it sounds. It doesn't seem like you've been upholding it either.
Enough. You clearly know nothing.
How do you know when people sin?
I'm able to commune with all of the statues in the city. Their ears are my ears, and their eyes are my eyes.
Is Persephone connected to the statues in the same way?
If she was still conscious, I suppose she could, but she's not. Why do you ask?
No reason.
Then what an odd question.
I've seen some terrible things here that you didn't consider a sin. How could you
Do you
let
plan
them
to
happen?
speak in sweeping generalizations, or are you going to give me an example?
Suicide, price gouging for life-saving medicine, a scam, debt bondage, experiments on the golden statues, abduction, never mind. You know what? Let's start with suicide.
I have seen no such thing, but in any case, taking one's own life is a self-directed act. It is not one that is done to others, however they may be affected by it. Therefore, it cannot be said that one who commits suicide has done anything unto others.
That seems like an extremely literal interpretation of the rule.
Applying this rule always requires us to interpret the meaning of the words. A literal interpretation helps to minimize the ambiguities of your primitive language.
If our language is full of ambiguity, doesn't that make the rule inherently subjective and unreliable?
Supposing you're right, then my law has been broken, and I should turn you all to gold immediately. Is that what you want?
I'm right and
Then
you
your
know it.
desire to be right outweighs your desire to survive. You will make a fine statue.
Oh no, I'm not trying to kill him, but I guess this is what's happening.
Do you really think you can wound me, a god, with that primitive weapon?
Let's find out, shall we? You may be beloved, you may be immortal, but your beloved
How
isn't.
dare you threaten her? This ends now. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
Come on. Give me the crown. Okay, I guess we're moving. Jeez. Okay. Can I dodge all of this? Rewind time and show Pluto you have Persephone's crown. Oh. Wow, okay. This is what... We're gonna do this in the next episode. But let me get to the portal. Can I attack them? I probably can. Come on, get moving. Open. Ow. Come on. I can't take another hit. Okay. Yep, I'm with you, Persephone. This has been an insane episode, but that is going to bring us to the end of this one. If you all enjoyed it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. If you didn't, however, leave a comment, let me know why. If you ever want to get in contact with me, you can follow on Twitter at Panaorios Gaming, or you can join the Discord, which is in the description of any of my videos. But with that said, I will see you all in the next one. Later.